And I think hearings are impactful because, like you said, that David Grusch hearing, and we also reference it. A lot of people do, right? You go back to that moment. It's impactful what they're saying on the public stage, the world stage. Let's be real. That's the world stage.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, look, what's really going to move the needle is a public hearing with someone who's like with the same credibility, with the same demeanor, tone as David Grusch.
Yeah.
But with the story of firsthand, meaning I'm the guy who touched the craft. I worked on it. Ask me about it. What do you want to know about this craft? This is what we did. This is what I did. This is me working on the craft. This is me standing next to it. Here's me. Oh shit, that's me in on vacation. But next one, here's me, with the craft. You're right. Like, here's me with the body. Like, I'm sorry, but that is what's going to really start to move the needle. I don't know how much, right? I don't know how much of continuing to bring people on that just have the same sort of tangential story.
I heard from a guy who said that
that's getting old.
It's just getting old. It was great with Grusch. It's hot because it just brought it into like, hey, look, I've talked to people, a lot of people. It was my job to talk to people.
Yeah.
Who handled this stuff. I'm just not like, I'm not like walking by a coffee shop and somebody said, hey, guess what I saw? It's like, no, I was asked to investigate. I went in to investigate because that's what I was supposed to do, saying, okay, sure, that's what you guys are giving me, I guess. And then, holy shit, it's very similar to like with Hynek. When Hynek was put in charge of doing this stuff, there was like, none of this stuff. And it's like, wait a minute. And it's the same type of stuff. And what Grusch was doing, that's good for that first hearing of saying this. Then you have the two pilots who also say, well, I saw this. But Burchett said this also, you can't do another hearing. You can't do another hearing of that. Well, even if you do USO stuff, I had an opportunity to speak to Tim Gallaudet, and I find him super credible. I think he's one of the more credible people in this thing. But just to hear, I want to hear from him, and I want to hear the things. We could say have a former rear admiral out there saying these things is very credible. But I also don't want to just hear, well, yeah, we have evidence of this, and things have zipped by, and this and this and that. It's like, great. Who's the guy that actually saw it zip by and it gave him a bumper shock and sent him into the next ocean? He woke up and going, wait a minute, how the hell did I get here? I got hit by a UFO. Say, okay, great. So tell me about that. Like, let's have stories about what the hell's going on. Carl Nell has to be in there. It's got to be.
Yeah,
got to be in talking. He was the one. He was like essentially David Grusch's boss. So let's have him. Let's have all these people, 40 plus people in there that were supposed to, who exactly what you just said, saw it, was asked to do this, worked on it. Here's the type of stuff that we have. I know we have it here because there's going to be classified stuff. You're going to run into those same roadblocks of like, well, I can't tell you this because I can't do that, but I can tell you that I touched it. I did this. I did that. We were working on it from this amount of time. Like, you have those people, you can't hide that in a news story. You just can't.
Absolutely. I mean, where do you go from there, right? That's it. That's the final. We can't keep pushing the goalposts down further and further. Like, we're past the point of there's something flying around, we don't know what it is. Yeah, we know that.
Right.
We know that there's stuff flying around, we don't know what it is. We've established that. Okay, you could bring up 1,000 people to say the same thing. Remember the other things you said? You said people have worked on them. You said people. Where are those people? Yeah. Those are the people. And now if people had never said that would be different. But those things have been made. Like you said, David Grusch brought, right? He was able to bring all that information together, 40 different people, a treasure map. Here it is. Here's the UFOs. Go to this place. I think it's time to show that map, bring these people out. Let's get on with it. Because I don't know how many years can we go before we're going to be like, this is bullshit, right? 5 years, 3 years, 10 years? What if for 10 years and it's still the same hearing, same people? Nobody has come out with, I'm the guy that touched the crowd. How long I don't think people are going to go that long, dude, because the more this grows outside of the purview of the UFO community and more just general people get involved, like you and I, no skin in the game, we're only going to deal with so much before we're like, come on, what's going on? You know what I mean? Yeah, like you talk to some people, I've been studying this 30 years. Nothing's changed. I'm sorry, but that better not be the case for me.
But the thing is, they say, but I would disagree with those people when they say nothing's changed.
Well, that's a good point.
Because if you and I started trying to do a show like this 5-6 years ago, and there were a lot of people that were, and God bless them because they had the kind of the moxie to do it, but like you wouldn't be taken seriously at all. And before the 2000, like the thing that really changed was that New York Times article. That changed a lot. And that got that was the government going, oh man, what the hell are we going to come back from that one? And then and they're still trying to silence a lot of people on that particular story. And you looked at people that were able to do it, and everything the way that Harry Reid kind of was able to make that go through, and because of how valid he was and what he was able to make that go through to the New York Times. So like that was a change. The Grusch thing was a change. Like, and that's why like there's certain ways, and we talk about it, and you've talked about it on your show a million times. I've talked about it on my show. You got to do things calculated if you want to do a change. And you bring up Jason Sands, right? Like Jason Sands, like you look at, he just talked about it the other day. He's like, yeah, Grusch is pissed at me. Well, no shit, Sherlock. What do you expect? It's like, well, I decided I wanted to tell everybody my story. So I went on Twitter Spaces in order to do it. And this is not the shit on Twitter Spaces. I know there's a lot of great things that happen on Twitter Spaces, but not as the first time out. Like, because you get Danny Sheehan goes on Twitter Spaces, tons of people go on Twitter Spaces and have conversations. And it's not a knock on Twitter Spaces, but to do your first thing out there and no one knows who you are, people are going to say, well, who the hell is this guy? Is this some kind of, is he legit? Because that was the question that was coming out. Everyone's going, is he legit? You shouldn't have to ask that question, because no one asked that about Danny Sheehan. Like, oh, it's Danny Sheehan. He's on Twitter Spaces. There it is. Now, if David Grusch would have debuted on Twitter Spaces, he's not taken as serious as he is today. There's no way.